The last 19 years of Movie TV's existence, we have endured and endeavored to advocate for good governance, in line with our duties as the fourth estate. We hold our leaders accountable, sometimes with tempers flaring.
Yeah.
Where did you get that money from?
No, I don't answer stupid questions anyway. That I'll tell you. I want you to put it on camera.
That Zesco was wrong.
Tried, I said, akainda choke. Mukuti bwanji, akainda choke. Oh, everybody, choke. Ine, pamene apa. Chita iwe.
Therefore, the curriculum at the University of Zambia is useless. If it leaves the engineers and the mineralogists totally defunct of the fact of maximizing on the resources that are next door, right in front of their doors.
And what is the answer to that, those lamentations?
Chase away the professors, chase them away. What are they doing there?
For instance, if you've done something and it takes you an hour to explain it, means you've done nothing. Or if you're doing something and you always take hours to explain it, most likely you're not doing anything.
Join me, Innocent Piri, on the Summmit. Lovely. Good evening, Zambia. Good evening, Africa, and warm welcome to this special interview with me, Innocent. You can simply call me IP. Today, the 24th of March of the year 2023. And of course, like our promos stipulates, explains that we've been around in the last 19 years and we've been part and parcel of Zambia's democracy. And this, of course, gives us the leverage to also begin to evaluate as the country will be co-hosting the Democracy Summit coming up next week. And of course, we continue engaging different stakeholders in our studios to analyze or evaluate how Zambia's democracy has been in the last 58 years of its independence. Now, the country's democracy is actually enhanced through the respect for human rights and also the rule of law, adherence by both who are in government and also those who are outside government. Besides that, again, what is more important is the eradication of poverty in our country or every nation. The question is, how is the case of Zambia? Are these issues or these elements being adhered to? That's a question we'll ask you this evening. And of course, the guest, or this evening I'm hosting a very controversial person. His name is the young King Cobra. His name is Maxwell Chong. He joins me on set to answer to all these questions we have as we give a build up to the summit we're having. Mr. Chong, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, and good evening to you, IK. It's been long being here. I'm glad that I've been given an opportunity to come and make an appearance. And good evening to our viewers out there.
Thank you so much, IP, by the way. I don't want to impersonate IP. Thank you so much. All right, let's begin from there. As a country, we'll be hosting the Summit on Democracy. And wow, this coming at a time when we've got a new administration in place in the name of the New Dawn government, which has actually promised to ensure that we govern the country using the rule of law, as well as matters to deal with a corruption fight. So far, in a nutshell, how do you look at the summit we'll be holding come next week?
I think the summit that we'll be holding, they're talking about democracy. And we have heard the president preaching about democracy relentlessly and tirelessly. But I think I am not going to be the first one to doubt a little bit here and there, because even the president himself at some point he had made it clear to say, look, certain pronouncements that we make at that level, they do not reflect on the ground. And I think there's a lot more that presidential appointees need to do to make sure that his pronouncements on top there, they're in line with what is happening on the ground. Yeah, so that we give a true reflection of the term democracy in our country.
And what can we do? What can the government or the executive do to ensure that what is being preached about trickles to the ordinary Zambians and also to his lieutenants?
I think it's about people that are being entrusted with that responsibility to be so professional and to discharge their duties according to what the president is preaching about. Unlike what we are seeing where some emotions are involved and personal hatred is involved, malice and slander, and this compromises what the president is asking for. Yeah, so
when you
I
talk
think
about malice, slander, and emotions, what do you mean exactly?
I'll tell you the truth. When the president was having his first press conference, I think after he won the election, I think that was a time when he just landed from the United States of America. He made it clear, he said, and I quote, "I will govern based on 3 principles, and that is rule of law, respect of human rights, and democracy." And of course, the president cannot make that happen alone. He's got people that he has appointed that need to help him to achieve what he wants to achieve. But it's a pity that certain elements underneath there, they're pulling in a different direction as to what the president is asking for. So we all need to understand that at the end of the day, we can be PF, we can be Socialist Party, we can be Citizens First, we can be any other political party. But the thing is that we've got only one president, and when the president is pulling in this direction, we all need to follow. Yeah.
Right. Let's come now, let's begin to break down some of these elements of democracy that builds or that leads to democracy, such as the human or respect for human rights. How has it been under the UPND administration? I don't want to talk about where we're coming from because it's clear that under the PF, the party where you belonged, I don't know if you are still a PF member, I'm not sure about it. Maybe you can clarify to the viewers out there your position. Are you still a PF member, sympathizer?
I think I've made it clear from the time we lost power. I've said I'm on sabbatical leave, and I'm enjoying my sabbatical leave. And when that time comes for me to publicly announce that now I'm back in politics and I belong to this political party, I'll be able to say whether I've gone to another political party or I've still remained in PF.
Right. Yeah. Respect for human rights, how has it been, the implementation?
I think the pronouncements from the executive or from the president himself, it has been on point, and he has been preaching about this, to say respect of human rights. But I think institutions like government operators that have been entrusted with that responsibility, they have not been practicing what the president is preaching. And that makes it difficult to an ordinary citizen to believe if that has been followed according to what the president is preaching about. Yeah. We have seen people being arrested, even UPND members being arrested for 7 days, and I think that is against what the president is talking about, because the president says if someone has committed a crime and our law enforcement agencies are with that person, if the crime is bailable or bondable, so to speak, give them bond or bail. But we have seen people being, even UPND members, being kept in cells for 7 days. So that is against what the president is preaching.
With that conclusion, can we say the rule of law is being applied fairly or equally? Because you've cited that some of the UPND members, even them, they have gone for 7 days without being given bail or bond.
Personally, I don't think.
Some of them from the opposition.
Personally, I don't think that would be correct, because the president has made it clear that rule of law should be followed and respect of human rights should be followed. So let's follow rule of law. What does it say when someone has been arrested and the offense is bailable or bondable? What do you have to do as a police officer, or maybe as a ACC officer or DEC officer? Do you have to keep that person for a day or so before you give them bond? So if the president has made it clear, they just have to follow. It's as simple as that. And if they're not following, then they're not listening to what the president is saying.
And how do you compare our activities on human rights, its respect, to maybe other countries in Africa?
I'll tell you the truth. The other day I was at home and I was watching EFF doing their march past. I think EFF never waited for the police to give them the go-ahead to do their march past. It's in the constitution, just like those rights are in our constitution in Zambia. But you find that in Zambia it becomes a problem. If you go ahead, they don't respond to you. You go ahead, the next thing you see will be the police officers coming, locking you up, and keeping you up in cells, which is not supposed to be the case. We should be able to look at other countries and how they have, respected human rights and how they've allowed the rule of law to flourish, and they've respected their democracy. For Zambia, I think we're a little bit behind. I was so surprised to see that even the president of Kenya, he actually told the opposition leader to say, look, I'm not going to stop you to do your demonstration, but make sure that you work closely with the police, that no one is affected. When we start reaching such levels, then we'll understand what democracy means and we'll appreciate it more. But in Zambia, usually, we, not only under the UPND administration, but from 1964 up to now, we have a way where politicians will supersede the powers of democracy, which is not supposed to be the case.
On the very day, the example you've cited about, for example, the EFF in South Africa and versus Zambia, the protest that you're trying to compare. I remember that on the 20th of March, we did also see some protests happening in Nigeria. There was also a protest in Kenya, as we mentioned on the very day as well. Senegal had its own protest. But I wouldn't want to mention Nigeria because Nigeria is older than Zambia. I will not mention Kenya because Kenya, again, is older than Zambia. Let's speak South Africa, which is a young democracy. Why do you think that South Africa is more as advanced, faster than Zambia, which is older than South Africa? Where is the problem? Why are we behind?
I think where the problem is that in South Africa, politicians have got a limit as compared to Zambia. They've got a limit, they can go up to a certain level, and then they'll start respecting the constitution, whether you belong to the ruling party or not. Unlike in Zambia, where politicians can just do whatever they want to do, for as long as maybe you belong to the ruling party. I'll give you an example. We had activists that were trying to march over, I don't know where, even that EFF president for Zambia was locked up, and something like that. And I remember one of our comrades, Ibrahim Mwamba, was also locked up. But when you go to South Africa and look at the demonstration that Malema and them had, they were having a conversation with police officers, something that we have never seen in Zambia. Police officers would say, where are you going next from here? What do you want from us? What can we do to make your demonstration better? So those can clearly show that we haven't reached that level yet. Yet we got independence before Zambia, and we've got a constitution. So we need, I think for us as politicians, we need to draw a line between politics and government.
Do you think that is a deliberate move by the politicians you've branded to say sometimes they're the ones who are stepping on the rights of others? Do you think it's the problem of politicians, or maybe we don't have enough legislative laws?
No, I think it's a problem of politicians. We become too excited and we feel we are more powerful than the constitution. And to be honest with you, the blame I would put it on politicians. Because the constitution is there, we just have to follow it and do what the constitution says. But I've come to learn that every time there is this political party in power, we all feel like we are more superior than the constitution, which makes it difficult.
Will it be right?
Because if you have noticed, our job as politicians is to create a political environment that will allow the technocrats in the civil service space to operate, devoid of politics. But we have created a situation where, despite creating an environment that will make the civil service space operate away from politics, as politicians, we are too selfish to the extent that we also want to be part of the civil service. And that's why we're making a mistake, because now we are creating an environment that makes the civil servants believe that if they don't do what the politician wants, then they'll be fired, which is unfortunate.
And the aspect of rule of law, adherence by both those in government and also we outside the government. How has it been?
I really admire the president when he's talking, whether he's got a press conference or is before the cameras. You emphasize on the rule of law. But when it comes to those agencies that are mandated to execute that, I think they're not pulling in the same direction with the president. I'm one of those people that was locked up for 2 days and I was denied bail. You know, and I saw a video clip recently where UPND members in Northern Province were locked up for 7 days, and you know, they were kept for 7 days. So for me, I think the president is fighting a lone battle. He means well for the nation, but his people, his appointees, they're pulling in a different direction. From the look of things, when you look at UPND, it's been in opposition for quite some time. Poka fee, council fee, for selling tomatoes. We have got car dealers in Lusaka. Car dealer alikuwa capital in on maybe 30,000 kwacha, ashtaka vits. Right at the port of entry, if you're not paying duty, we are going to sell this car in 2 to 3 months. And yet our copper is going out of the country, enjoying tax holidays. Why can't we keep that money and use it to create both business and employment opportunities for our youth? Imagine IP if we are to bring factories to process copper into finished products. How many people will be employed? How many suppliers will have business opportunities? Imagine IK today as we see IP today as we see it, you and me. When we walk down the road there, is it what's the name of this shop where they sell furniture? We'll start admiring tables and chairs. Those products come from our mukula. Our mukula leaves Zambia as logs, but when it goes there, it's being processed. It comes back. Scaledeco, that's the name of the shop. It comes back as very expensive furniture that you and me will have to scratch our heads to buy it. Why can't we tell these people to set up factories right here so that we can process that into finished products? By doing so, how many people are we going to employ? How many people are we going to give business opportunities in terms of suppliers? It's unfortunate today Zambia has got a lot of universities. Almost every corner there is a university. Tell me, who manufactures a toothpick in Zambia? We are still importing toothpicks. We are still importing floss. We are still importing plastic plates. We are still importing plastic forks, knives, spoons, and takeaway packs. To the extent we've started even importing utuma sauce and utuma salt. Why can't we do it here? So the answers to all these questions that we have are not outside the borders of Zambia. They are here. Zambia has been blessed with minerals. Nobody not to switch light. So we have everything that we need. What we need is minds that will realize those things that we have into actual things that we can use to empower our people and employ our people.
You were inspired by the late President Michael Sata, the King Cobra, the original King Cobra, and you come in as a young King Cobra.
I am not a young King Cobra anymore. I've grown. I'm 42 years old. I cannot be a young King Cobra. So I'm a King Cobra, just call me King Cobra. What is
The point is that the message you are talking about, for example, I remember when Mr. Sata also was campaigning for his presidency, he did mention that it was quite shameful it was quite embarrassing that as a country we were unable to, even produce toothpicks, for example. These are the issues that he lamented about. And of course, when he came in,
But am I lying?
Zambians, you are right. These are facts. So I'm trying to take you back to your mentor, the late Michael Sata, and you come in as another now King Cobra, as you call it. You call yourself. But the question is, why are we not doing all these things?
The biggest problem is that, look, if PF forms government, for as long as PF would think the people that have got solutions to challenges that are affecting the citizens of Zambia belong to PF, that is the beginning of failure. Then you have failed as a government. So even UPND, for as long as they feel and think they can only get ideas from those that are in UPND or support UPND, then they are going to fail. So when President Hakainde Hichilema was in opposition, he was a UPND leader and an opposition leader. President Hakainde Hichilema is the president now. He's the president of plus minus 19 million Zambians. He's not supposed to look at, huyu ni PF sininga vile vamenaka ambao ni ndani. No. What benefits majority citizens, let it be embraced.
And this is what President Hakainde Hichilema has done. He has opened, an olive branch to say
there
those
is
ideas,
opening an
can you
olive,
come forward?
There is opening an olive branch verbally, and physically it's closed.
And what is the case right now?
Let the president come up with a day and say, look, on such a date, I will invite people, even those in opposition, to come and give me ideas, and I will embrace them.
We have some of the opposition leaders who are actually in touch with the president. They are working with him. An example I can cite is Dr. Mumba, Nevas Mumba of the MMD. He's one of the people that is in touch with the president.
You see, I've got a lot of respect for Dr. Nevas Mumba. He's my father. But I feel Dr. Nevas Mumba is not a politician. And I feel what is missing in President Hakainde Hichilema's administration is someone with courage to tell you. I think and I feel most of them are scared. I watched a video on the Copper Belt where one official was telling the president the exact things on the ground. And people in the background would say, Muleke Nakambe, but ministers don't say anything. UPND administration is the first administration in the history of my political career that I've seen that ministers are quiet. Permanent secretaries are quiet. Almost everyone is quiet. Sometimes I feel bad because I have been there. I have seen President Lungu being blamed for things that he never did or sanctioned. And I'm seeing the same happening to President Hakainde Hichilema. Let him open the doors and let him welcome ideas from other people. Not everything that was done by former President Edgar Chagwa Lungu is wrong. He is the one in State House. He's the one with the instruments of power. He is the president of Zambia. At some point, he's got the powers to say, I want to see ECL and I want to talk to him. How do we do this thing to benefit the masses? Today, I'll give you an example. The president of Kenya, Ruto, is not in good books with the former president. But he understands that he's the one in power now. He has given the former president an opportunity to save Kenya on different missions. He has told his people, his ministers, to say, I don't want anyone to talk about the former president. And we have never heard anyone in Kenya talking about the former president. From the ruling party. Not even the media. But they are not good in good books.
You'll be shocked to hear, King Cobra, that I think I've got a number of videos where the former head of state of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, is being accused of having sponsored the protest of Raila Odinga recently, on the 20th of March.
He has been accused, yes. But look at the response that comes from the president. Because he knows he's the president. So even President Hakainde Hichilema, I shouldn't listen much to these people. I am a person that talks without fear or favor. Not so long ago, we used to see the freedom scars were frequenting the ECAO. Today, where is the freedom scars? We only have one president, and that is President Hakainde Hichilema. And we only have one former president, and that is ECAO. There are certain things that ECAO did that benefited masses, that if the current president was to embrace, it will help majority citizens. Rubbishing what ECAO did, almost everything, it can become a problem. And
On
it's a
the side
two-way
of
thing.
ECAO,
Even ECAO
yeah.
also, he needs to understand that HH is now the president. I know President Hakainde Hichilema is younger than ECAO, but ECAO also needs to acknowledge that HH is now the president. So there could be some elements that would be saying, no, boss Landeniko, if there are certain limits that he also needs to know that here I cannot cross over. Because let me respect him. Whatever ECAO is going through today, I want to tell you the truth. That's exactly what President Hakainde Hichilema might go through when he's out of office. And I will tell you, the people that would defend President Hakainde Hichilema are not those people in UPND, but maybe the people that will come even from PF or outside. Today, when you talk about the people that are defending ECAO, it's either Rafael Nakachinda, Bowman Lusambo, Brian Mundubire, Chitaruchi Rufia. And when you look at these names, I've deliberately picked these names, even Malanji. When you look at these names, where are they from? Is it not MMD? Where are those that thought they were true Greens more than any other person? Where are they in IBEX? So the same can happen. You might find that in the near future, we'll be the ones defending President Hakainde Hichilema. Say, no, leave him, he's a former head of state.
When you pick or you bring the two names, the name of ECAO and President Hakainde Hichilema, you will realize that not long ago, President Hakainde Hichilema, when he was actually gracing an event, he didn't actually mention that he called on the former head of state. Look, even the former head of state, Mr. Edgar Chagwalungu, you are needed at this particular moment. There will be a time when the country needs your services. So we need to work together. What happened? ECAO went quiet. There was not any response to that effect. Who is to blame here? We blame HH or we blame ECAO? Where do you think?
I think in the beginning when we started, I gave you an example and I told you that Ruto made it clear, he told his ministers and everyone that belongs to his party to say, I don't want anyone to disrespect the former head of state. President Hakainde Hichilema, as him as an individual, apart from these other people, he has never disrespected ECAO. He has always wanted to work with him. But what about his people? How do they treat ECAO? What sentiments do they give about ECAO? So it's those things that ECAO is also a human being. You know, I'll give you practical examples. When President Hakainde Hichilema feels like he has been disrespected, it reminds him of what he went through when he was in opposition. And he's a human being. He would feel bad and issue a certain statement. Even ECAO, now that he's out of power, when people disrespect him, it reminds him the power that he had, which he does not have. And he would feel bad as an individual. So, at the end of the day, despite ECAO being older than President Hakainde Hichilema, President Hakainde Hichilema has got the power to bring to an end all this. He can simply say, I don't want any of my ministers or UPND member to say anything about ECAO. I'll deal with it myself. And if there's nothing bad that is being said to ECAO, or is not being disrespected, and then President Hakainde Hichilema invites ECAO and ECAO refuses, I'll be the first one to say I think we're a problem.
There is a notion that possibly ECL may be championing an agenda of coming back or bouncing back.
I want to tell
And
you
that's what also prompted President Hakainde Hichilema said, I think enough is enough. We are trying to restore the rule of law, which you destroyed. We are trying to rebuild the country's image, which you destroyed. And then you are trying also to sabotage me. I think this is now Kutumba.
I heard about that statement, and therefore Kulanda Vechinga, and this will give me a platform to clear the air. From the time ECL won the election in 2015, when we had that presidential by-election as the Republican president, then 2016 won the election again. I have never met ECL one-on-one like this in my life. Until recently, when I had the problem, and then he was coming from JIT, Joint Investigative Wings, where he went to escort his son. That's when I met ECL one-on-one. We sat on the table. And what ECL told me to my face, I asked him, there were quite a number of people there, they were very scared on the table. I asked him, I said, do you really want to bounce back? He said, no, I've had my time, Max. Let me just stay like this. So, of course, there are certain people that will be going around saying, no, but boss, because of maybe the way when he goes to church, he goes to this function, the way people say. But he has told me that. I've only seen former President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. I've only had the chat with him once. And he told me no. And he's also looking forward to the extraordinary party conference. Now, the mistake that most of the people are making is that, look, the party has got a constitution. ECL retired from active politics at national level. And he wrote a letter to the Secretary of the Cabinet. An acknowledgement was given, and the public domain was made aware that ECL has resigned from active politics. Now, despite ECL resigning from active politics at that level, he was still the person that was elected at PF's conference in 2021. He has not really handed over power to another leader, and he's looking forward to that. And that's the reason. Now, there are only two ways where ECL can hand over power to the next person. He can't just resign like that. It's either we go for the National Party Conference, which is supposed to take place in 2025, if I'm not mistaken, or they go for an extraordinary party conference, which will show that he has resigned and he wants to hand over to someone, which they want to do. Now, in the process of them trying to do that, they thought they should try to make some amendments to their constitution. And that is what has delayed, not that ECA wants to come back to power. It has delayed, and once they're done with the constitution, which is, I think by now you should know that it's called Chisanga Review Constitution or something like that. So recently I heard that they are almost done. So once they're done, they will set a date, and everybody else will go for the extraordinary conference, and ECA will hand over back to his house in Ibex.
Yeah. Why do we get different opinions, different explanations about ECL's activeness in politics? Because some of the members are saying, no, it's true, a PF president. I think we heard even Honorable Lusambo recently, there is a video which is being widely shared, where he said, no, he's actually still active in politics.
Let me tell you, there are about 9 people that have publicly shown interest to aspire for PF presidents. Today, if there was to be a general election, none of those qualify to stand on PF ticket.
None of the 9
None
candidates?
of them. None of them.
Why do you think so?
Why? Because the PF constitution says the president is supposed to be elected at the National Party Conference. And that was done in 2021. So in as much as ECL is willing to resign, the constitution is still holding on to him until at the time that we have the extraordinary party conference, which is the one they're trying to do now. Yeah.
And how do you analyze the 9 presidential candidates so far in terms of their credentials to lead the PF? Do you think the PF can rebrand itself with the names that have been listed so far?
I think, to be honest with you, PF has learned a lesson. PF is one of those political parties that people joined religiously. And PF is one of those political parties up to now that people believe in countrywide. It has got its structures. But I think at some point we all became overexcited, and we did not listen much to what the people were talking about. And the people had no option but to say, look, let's look for an alternative. And by what the people did, a lot of leaders have learned, including myself. And let me take this opportunity to, being one of those that was so there for PF, to apologize on behalf of former President Edgar Chagwa Lungu for the things that he might have done to the people of Zambia wrongly, knowingly or unknowingly. You know, and also let me apologize as Maxwell Chongo to the people of Zambia for the things that I might have done knowingly or unknowingly wrong to the citizens. I think maybe we were too excited and we grew big-headed. At some point we stopped listening. But that does not mean that we're bad people. So yeah.
Yeah, we've had also within the PF, structures where there seems to be tension, a lot of tension. Some leaders they're actually attacking each other verbally. That no, you are coming from the MMD, you can't take over the party. Others feel that, I think, regardless of I having been an MMD before, but I do qualify to stand on this position. How would you look at all these issues around? You
go and ask that leader who is telling others that they came from MMD, if he doesn't have a family. And if he has got a family and he's got stepchildren, is he going to say this child is not mine? We all know that person. People come from different areas, but when you form one thing. Today, Honorable Sylvia Maseo was in PF. She's now UPND. Will people say she's not UPND? Honorable Felix Mtati was in PF. He's now UPND. Will people say he's not UPND? So that person who talks like that is not a leader that is worth trusting. That's a confusionist and a problem child. And we all know his history. Even in 2014, 2015, he did it the same. And that's the reason why Vasata never even trusted him. And he keep on saying, no, he's Vasata's nephew, and he thinks he's more PF than any other person. Let me even tell you, he was not even anywhere near in opposition when we were mobilizing for the party. He was working at the bank. He doesn't even know the history of PF because I saw what he posted on Facebook. He said Vasata was dribbled in 2006. We were not dribbled in 2006. We lost that election because we were not popular on the ground. The only thing that comforted us on that election is that we were given Luvinda by then, WAD were GBM, and GBM was MMD in Kawata. And that's why we got the courage to go on the ground to say, but GBM ngabalusa, then others will lose. After that time, we started talking with UPND, if you remember. We merged, PF and UPND merged at some point. He never even talked about it because he doesn't even know it. The only time Vasata was dribbled was in 2008. And that's the reason why the Vubui story is that famous. So you shouldn't come and say, no, Vasata was my what, Wufu. We have got Sata's relatives in that party. I can give you an example, Sylvia Charikosa. I can also give you an example, the Kasolos. And most of Sata's relatives, they don't even talk. So you can't claim to be PF, you left the party. You went and formed your own Kantemba. You failed. You went to UPND, you joined UPND, you started insulting Balungu, calling him Jameson man. You failed there, you came back, you started insulting HH. Now today, President HH is the president, and you want to act like now you love him more. In fact, that guy is behaving like that other person who shares the same surname with him. But I'll tell you the truth. PF is like an ego. we don't take flying lessons from chickens. Another question.
Wow. Now, is it not true that some of the people you've cited really, they left the party after being frustrated? They left the party after they were haunted out. I'll give you an example, like in the case of Honorable Mao Sampa, who has come out so strongly that some of the reasons why I left the PF, actually I never left the PF, but I was haunted out by some selfish individuals, by some hijackers.
Mao Sampa is lying. Mao Sampa is a liar. I was Mao Sampa's personal right-hand man in 2014-2015 presidential by-elections. All those moves that Mao Sampa was saying, thinking he's popular and he's famous, it's me who was doing that, the groundwork. Mao Sampa was never hounded out of the party. The only people that I might say, yes, these ones were chased from the party, maybe Dr. Chimbaka Mbwili and KBF. Mao Sampa left on his own. He told me, he called me, and he told me, let's go. I told him, I'm not going anywhere, you go alone. He went and used my colors and formed a party. You remember what was called orange.com. He formed the party, took those colors, it failed. That's when he rushed to UPND. Nobody chased Mao Sampa. Tell me who chased Mao Sampa from PF.
You know better.
Even after that, Walungu went to Mao Sampa. In fact, Walungu followed him in Matero. There's even a picture where Mao Sampa was cutting a cake with Walungu. He followed him in Matero and told him, let's work together, my young brother. As if that was not enough, Walungu even appointed Mao Sampa as the campaign manager for Chawama by-election, which was Charwe won. And I was there with Mao Sampa. So Mao Sampa should not lie that he was chased from PF. He chased himself. And he's got that tendency of chasing himself. Can you give me a name of a person who chased Mao Sampa from UPND? He went to UPND, he chased himself, he came back to PF. So he shouldn't claim to be more PF than any other person. In fact, Mao Sampa should thank what Faustina Sinyangwe. There was Faustina Sinyangwe in Matero.
When you look at the whole process and, leading to the convention, which is highly being talked about, I know that the PF was supposed to go to the convention in March, this year, and the March is ending in the next few days from now. What does it mean now to the party?
Listen, the PF party wanted to go for a convention. In fact, it's not even a convention, a conference, extraordinary conference. Yeah. But they realized that there are certain changes that they need to make in their constitution, the party constitution. Mao Sampa was pushing that agenda. He knew very well that GBM and Chimbaka Mbwiri, they don't qualify.
In which way?
Go back to the constitution, the PF constitution, and check properly. You see that they don't qualify.
I have the constitution.
So what he wanted was, he knew that if he goes with them, and they are told at last minute that they don't qualify, he was simply going to talk to them and they support him and then he wins. Why can't he wait? Let him wait.
When you talk about the constitution, the PF constitution, in which clause exactly? Because I've got a copy of the constitution. I hope my director can bring it.
How many years is someone supposed to serve in the party before they can think of serving as the party president?
How many years?
Yeah. You said you know the constitution. I'm asking you a simple question. How many years?
You tell me.
I thought
All
you
I can
told
do
me
to bring
you
the
know
constitution to you and the
How many years? When did Chimbaka Mbwiri come back to PF?
3 years.
When did GBM come back to PF?
After 3 years.
And if you check, if I'm not mistaken, maybe they're supposed to serve more than that in the party before they can think of contesting for that position. So he knew very well that he may have served that long, and they haven't. So he wanted to ride on them. Because he knew that when they go there and they say, Maos Bamuju, if about to Funyamu, let's go with Maos. That was his plan. I know him in and out.
So who is to blame here? Would you blame one individual, one candidate, and not the entire central committee, because even if you want to qualify to belong to a central committee, you need to have served, a good number of years.
I don't want to go into detail of that, of what you're asking me about, because I might be touching on issues that are before the courts of law.
Right.
So for now, I think let's leave it there.
Right. Let's talk about the fight against corruption as we wind up the program. So far in our country, we've seen that a number of people have been arrested, and as you sit beside me, you're one of the people that have been arrested over these allegations of corruption. It could be proceeds suspect to be accrued out of proceeds of crime. Are we moving on the right trajectory?
You see, the president was straight to the point to say, you follow them. Those that committed crimes, make sure they pay back, and they're answerable to whatever they did. And it was unfortunate that on the 23rd of August 2021, my house was under attack by DEC, Drug Enforcement Commission. And I was away on a business trip. So when I came back, they told me they got my assets, and they suspect that they are proceeds of crime. I've got no source of income, and it's unfortunate because even before PF formed government, I was running businesses. The bodyguard to the president, the current bodyguard to the president, Shapa Wankunguma, when he was building his house, he used to stop over my nightclub to buy drinks. That was before PF formed government. The current Commissioner of Police at State House, Mr. Fanwal Siandeng, knows me in and out. He knows what I've done. In fact, I would say he's like my uncle, because I would go to his house and eat when I was young, in Kafue. He knows I've never even caught him from the time he was appointed, not even Shapa himself. They know that I've been in business for a long time. I had 3 nightclubs before PF formed government. I had the first ever double-story boutique opposite Lumumba bus station in town before PF formed government. Most of these people that are in office, even some of those that are in the investigative wings, they were getting on buses when I was selling vehicles. So it's unfortunate that in 2021, when we lost the election, someone would say proceeds of crime. And I am a citizen, a law-abiding citizen. I allowed them to do their investigations. What is so shocking is that certain properties were obtained in 2012, 2010, 2009, 2015, and then you are saying these were bought in 2021 or 2020, so we are seizing them. The president is on the right track, but the investigative wings, they need to remove emotions as they discharge their duties. IP, today you might hate Max maybe because he was posting on Facebook or social media. So now that he's not in power, because me, I'm with DEC, or I'm with ACC, or I'm with Zambia Police, let me fix him. You are fixing me as an individual in your personal capacity. But you're not looking at the future of these young kids that we're bringing up. Because it is them that are to pay in future when UPND is not power for the mistakes that you are making as a civil servant. Civil servants should always try to be very professional in the way they discharge their duties. Today, Mr. Fanwal Siandeng is at State House as Commissioner of Police, Deputy IG, because he was very professional in the way he was discharging his duties. He never wanted to bend. He actually went into exile because of being professional. And that's the reason why President Hakainde Hichilema appointed him. Today, if Shapa Wakunguma, that bodyguard to the president, wanted to listen to what politicians were telling him in Western Province, he would have been retired. But today is the bodyguard to the president because he did what was right according to his job description. Now we are seeing people grabbing things from people without investigating. And when you go to court, that's when they start investigating. You know, I like the way ACC handled it. They realized that there was a problem with certain cases. They withdrew the cases. One of them is that one for Dr. Charuchurufia, the Anibi scandal. They withdrew it because they saw that, look, this was based on emotions and not really evidence. Let's restart again. Now, if Dake is not going to see that, because as an investigator, you need to know to say, look, we got a Hilux from Max Ochong, we got a Land Cruise, we got a Makex, we got a truck, we got this and that. When did he buy this Hilux? Can we have the documents? What does it say in the system? If it says he bought the Hilux in 2012, why should we keep the Hilux in 2021? If it says the Land Cruiser was bought in 2019, why are we still keeping it? You understand? Because you can't keep stuff that was bought before the case that you're talking about. You might be in an office, you are 8 of you, you're saying, no, I'm squeezing. But when you go in court, it will be you to answer before the courts. I've seen a statement where people are saying, I even saw one interesting statement, I don't know if you saw it, where the Chief Justice was telling the judges and magistrates to say, don't use the courts to persecute people, citizens. It is not the judges and the magistrates that are persecuting citizens. It's not even President Hakainde Hichilema that is persecuting citizens. Why are people not asking investigative wings and their officers what they're doing if it's correct? You don't walk to an organization and say, look, Max was doing construction works here. Where is his company profile? We don't have it. You don't have it? Yeah. Oh, okay. Max never had a valid certificate. Papa, let's arrest him. National Council for Construction of Zambia is under UPND. You can simply go there in the system and check. Let's check if Max had a valid certificate. Drug enforcement officers can simply check even with ZRA and whatnot. So let's check when these cars were bought. But to sit and say, look, we have grabbed this because of this business. You're talking about a business. Maybe I was not even paid the business. Maybe I did not even do the business. Because if you're a proper investigator, you will know when I was paid for what, where, when.
What has come out so prominent is that most of you who were actually into, contracts under the PF administration, all you did was to supply nothing, and you demanded for money. And I'll ask you a blunt question: are you one of those people that supplied air?
Let me actually
money?
Disappoint you. I've never done business with government, like serious business. I only did business with government 3 times from the time PF formed government. I've always been in the private sector. I have always been in the private sector. If you go to the mines, you'll find my name there and my company. The only business I did with government was the supply of face masks. And you can't supply air at Ministry of Health. It's not possible. Because you are going to what is called Medical Stores of Zambia. Medical Stores Limited, I mean. It's different from where you got the instructions where you're supposed to take. There are people there. They will check everything one by one. There is a process there which is very cumbersome. Before a payment is authorized, there's a certificate that will come from Medical Stores Limited there to say, look, that person has remained with maybe 2 face masks. So we are waiting for those 2. You can't. If it was possible that people can supply air, Gilbert Diswanis would have been rich today, Trevor Mwinde would have been rich today, and quite a number of guys would have been rich today. Most of these things, people were just talking about them because they were in opposition.
And how is the current state of your businesses? I know that some of your properties have been seized, vehicles are still under the lockdown. How is the state of your businesses as we speak today?
I'll tell you the truth. It's painful. I saw my friend Malembe complaining. It's painful, but what I've come to tell myself is that I need to understand. I need to be a man. I closed my company. Innocent had people that supported UPND, and I'm sure you saw on my sites. I got youths from compounds, Karingalinga, Mtendere, Kanyama, Linda, Makeni kwa Linda, Misisi. I brought them from the compounds because Makombo niweze kumwachemo venangwashita ule ukawala. I brought them and I was working with them, about 100 casual workers, and I sent them back home. And you know what I expected from these investigative wings was to say, look, we're investigating you, we'll allow you to work, continue doing your business, and when we find something, we'll call you and take you to court. But instead, they got everything and packed it there. So I lost everything. And I think it's the first time I'm even talking about it. I don't even talk about it. I lost everything. They got everything. They packed everything, including my truck. They packed it. But under normal circumstances, they could have put restriction notices on my things and said, you can continue working as we are investigating. But they packed them. I would not lie to you. I received a phone call from one of the people that side to tell me that they've actually removed the tire from my Hilux and they've broken my window, and I've never been there. So I don't know what's happening. Maybe that's a new way of doing things, because what I thought was if investigative wings are investigating me, they can say, okay, this is your truck, it's working. We're going to get the number plate and everything, all the details. You're not allowed to change the paint. You're not allowed to sell it. You're not allowed to do this. You can be working and you can have your cars. At the time that we are convinced that you've got a case, we'll call you. We go to court. And when the court says otherwise, we're getting your things. But
what kind of a Zambia do we live in today, in a nutshell, as we close the program?
We're living in a Zambia where I feel politicians, we have crossed the boundaries. And it will be very difficult for this nation to develop. And by saying crossing the boundaries, and I'm not just saying under New Dawn administration, all these years. Personally, I feel President Hakainde Hichilema was kept in opposition for a long time for a reason. And his legacy was supposed to be anchored on how he was going to change the political face in our nation. And by changing the political face, I mean the way he talked about no cadarism, the way he said people should be free to wear their regalia of their choice. It should have been the way he would have said, even if you're in opposition, you should be able to access business opportunities. If you're in opposition, you should be able to be employed. It should have been the way, it should have been like, you know, I think that was going to be his legacy, in my own view.
Right.
But I think we are living in a Zambia where politicians feel they are more superior than even technocrats. And that is affecting the civil service, because the driving engine for any nation is a civil service. Now, if the civil service are scared of politicians, for example, if I was to be a president, I wouldn't have any reason to have Kangwa there as the permanent secretary, minister of sport, and even Fuwe. What is it? What's his name? Fumba. Because politicians, we should never step our feet in the civil service space. We've got people that have risen. We've got people that have worked for 30 years, 40 years there. And it's frustrating to see someone you were just watching on TV singing or was acting in Kabanana, and he comes and becomes your boss. And you start teaching that person how to do their work. It's frustrating. That's the reason why there's so many leakages from government to opposition. It's because of such frustrations. That's the reason why today we are seeing statements where they're saying government doesn't have anywhere to park the trucks for youth empowerment. Because the people that are there, they've got no institution memory or knowledge. Controlling officer. We need to make sure as a nation moving forward that any permanent secretary should rise in the ranks and files of that institution up to the point of director level. That is the only way Zambia can develop.
Allow me to appreciate you, Mr. Chongo, for having spent at least 1 hour with the people of Zambia discussing these national matters. Wish you the best in your activism for good governance.
Thank you so much, and I hope to come again.
Of course, you will be here. Thank you so much. All the best. Thank you. All right, dear viewers, we close the program this evening. I've been hosting Mr. Maxwell Chongo, coming from, of course, the governance circles, as we continue advocating for good governance in our country ahead of the Democracy on Summit, which is coming up next week. Of course, you can follow this program on social media page after the live feed. Tomorrow they will be repeated about 15 hours. And we continue counting down to our 20th anniversary as a movie television. Thank you so much. May God bless Zambia. May God bless Mother Africa. Good night.